The thriller genre is often built on creeping tension. Games of cat and mouse between the pursuer and pursued, gritty adaptations of real-world events, and more psychologically manipulative narratives. These are just some of the many setups designed to get the audience invested and placed on the edge of their seats. Then there are those rare entries that rely on the perspective of a villain or morally irredeemable character. That's exactly what 2017's Good Time does. It's a grim, grotty and unyielding ride with a scheming criminal at its centre. Set on a dingy night in New York City, we follow Connie Nikas, played by Robert Pattinson, as he runs back and forth across the city, trying to free his incarcerated brother and evade the police. Connie is a deceitful crook who uses his mentally handicapped brother to commit crimes, but that's just the start of it. Over the film's 90-minute runtime, many more unassuming people will find themselves deceived, manipulated, or outright ruined by the antagonist's actions. In other instances, focusing on a villainous character may break a movie, but here it's the main backbone to its success. All the way through, the small cast is put front and centre, absorbing the audience into their self-centred motives. As the night wears on and Connie gets himself into more predicaments, we the audience want to find out the ultimate outcome of his caper. The sense of no clean getaways is constantly on display, with one action leading to another unintended consequence. It's a vicious cycle, with one person getting thrown under the bus one moment, and a drastic shift in Connie's priorities the next. At first, he tries to pay the bail to get his brother out, but the money is spoiled by the red dye, so he then goes straight to the hospital to sneak Nick out of custody. But then he finds that he chose the wrong person. You can feel the bitterness on Connie's face when he realises he broke out another crook. That's what makes the film so viciously engaging. In his desperate bid to rescue his relative, Connie only makes things worse. This creates many shocking and often disturbing moments. Just what will he do next to put his selfish motives one step ahead of everyone he meets? Perhaps the most hideous deed is when Connie drugs an on-duty security guard, steals his uniform, and then leaves him to be arrested by the authorities. This one unassuming guy was punished simply for showing up to work that evening. Connie's endlessly unsavoury behaviour is contrasted against his brother Nick, who doesn't know any better and goes through the story beaten and battered by the justice system. In terms of the main cast, he's the only redeemable character to be found. The role of Nick was taken on by director Benny Safdie, who is just as capable on screen as he is behind the camera. Him and his brother Josh knew exactly what they wanted for the production, and it never loses its razor-sharp edge. That's the overarching nature of crime. Directly or indirectly, innocent or guilty, it affects a massive pool of individuals, and this underpins Good Time's deeper themes. We don't know Connie's backstory, but we learn Ray's in the space of 4 minutes in one of the film's biggest highlights.
Stop, man. I just don't give a fuck. I'm celebrating. I'm not gonna spill it. Yo, how much is this shit worth? So I'm at the arcade with Trevor now. You know, and we're doing our thing, hustling acid, and you know, we take over this place like it's our fucking office. But once in a while, someone will show up, and we'll make a sale, you know? Make a sale here, make a sale there.
20, you know?
Take that shit and get high, baby boy.
It's a little stronger than last time, I hope.
But then one of Trevor's friends, this clown Donnie, walks in. And he's all fucked up, and he's talking about how he just robbed some Radio Shack down the street. Look, at this point, the acid's kicking in for me, so like I can't follow this shit. I'm having a hard time following his story, and I'm starting to freak out a little bit.
Bam, right over his fucking head.
And then guess what happened? The fucking cops show up.
This montage shows how the characters are trapped in their run-down, broken lives with no way of getting out. It speaks to a lack of support for rehabilitation, while also emphasising that whether they like it or not, Connie and Ray are stuck together. They continue to trade verbal blows for the rest of the film's runtime, and things really boil over during this scene before the climax.
Look at you, you're drunk as shit. Now you want to get real with me?
Don't fucking flatter yourself, bro. I'm not trying to get real with you. You know what? I'm fucking real. I'm trying to talk to you, all right? Go fuck yourself, man. Think you're better than me.
I am better than you.
You're an ignorant fuck, bro. No one's better than any next man, all right? You don't know me.
It's a brief yet effective argument, showing how the two have approached the cards they were dealt while trying to one-up the other. In addition to its story and characters, Good Time's presentation is another crucial factor that sets it apart from other thrillers. Containing elements of neo-noir but tinged with gritty undertones, the film crafts a landscape that's very detached from wider society. The same is true of the soundtrack, which flares in and out of the proceedings whenever we see Connie travelling through the night. It's a seamless way to move from one event to the next. Thanks to the efforts of One O Trick's Point Never, we get an atmospheric mix that oozes into the antagonist's misadventures. A similar style of lighting and atmosphere would find its way into Uncut Gems a few years later, an equally brilliant flick that maintains more blistering tension. After a whole night of twists and turns, the film ends appropriately with dawn breaking. While they're holed up in a high-rise apartment, Ray and Connie are still far more exposed, a well-crafted means to tie the film's climax in with Nick's initial arrest. Rather than a showdown between Connie, Ray and the police, it instead takes on a more realistic final outcome, crushing failure and regret. When Connie is cuffed and led to the car, he seems to be processing the magnitude of his capture. Not only has he been caught after an entire night on the run, he's also going to be done in for all those previous crimes. As this realization sets in behind the bars, Pattinson delivers one of the bleakest stares I've ever seen in a movie. Throughout the film, Connie believed himself to be the hero of his own story, and then the cruel reality finally sets in. It concludes the film on a deeply personal note, while also showing that Nick is finally getting the help he needs. Ultimately, Good Time's focus on darker characters, atmospheric presentation, and winding twists all put it a cut above modern thrillers. Thanks for watching. Good Time is a standout production that flips the genre on its head and features a tour de force performance from Robert Pattinson. If you haven't seen it already, do yourself a favour and check it out. You can follow my blog and channel at the links in the description.
From love, the truth is an act of love.